There was a time in my life when I woke up and didn't recognize the person staring back at me in the mirror. I saw my reflection, but I didn't see me. The light in my eyes had dimmed. The fire I once carried had burned out, replaced by doubt, exhaustion, and confusion. I was moving through life, but I wasn't living. I was existing, and I told myself I was fine, but I wasn't. I was lost. Lost in fear. Lost in comparison. Lost in the expectations of others. Lost in the noise of a world that told me who I should be. And I didn't even realize how far I had drifted from myself until one day I looked around, and nothing felt like home anymore. I remember the mornings when I used to wake up excited, full of passion, full of dreams, full of ideas that made me feel unstoppable. But somewhere along the way, I lost that version of me. Life hit me hard. Disappointments piled up. People I trusted let me down. Opportunities slipped away. And little by little, I started to believe that maybe I wasn't meant for more. That's the dangerous part about losing yourself. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens quietly, piece by piece, until one day you wake up and realize that your spark has turned to ashes. But here's what I've learned. Even ashes can ignite again. Even when you feel broken, your story isn't over. Because deep inside, beneath all the doubt and pain, there's still a flame, waiting to be remembered. I remember the day I decided I couldn't keep living like that. It wasn't dramatic. There was no grand sign from the universe. It was just a quiet moment where I said to myself, enough. Enough pretending. Enough shrinking. Enough running from my own potential. I was tired of feeling sorry for myself. I was tired of letting fear write my story. So I made a decision, not to have it all figured out, not to be perfect, but to start. I started showing up again. For myself. For my dreams. For the person I used to be before the world told me who I should be. And it was hard. I won't lie to you. It was painful to rebuild when I didn't even remember how to begin. But every small step mattered. Every day I showed up, even when I didn't feel like it. I started to remember who I was. I stopped chasing validation. I stopped waiting for permission. I stopped apologizing for wanting more. And that's when everything changed. See, life has a way of testing you, of stripping everything away, so you can remember what's real. Sometimes you have to lose yourself to find yourself again. Sometimes the darkness you go through isn't punishment. It's preparation. I learned that growth doesn't happen when you're comfortable. It happens when you're on your knees, when you're tired, when you're uncertain. But you keep going anyway. That's where strength is born. That's where identity is rebuilt. That's where your fire reignites. There were nights I cried until my eyes were swollen. Days when I questioned if any of it was worth it. But I kept moving. I told myself, this pain will not break me. It will build me, and slowly it did. The pieces started to come together. Not because life suddenly got easy, but because I got stronger. I realized that motivation doesn't always come from feeling ready. Sometimes it comes from being tired of your own excuses, from being done settling, from knowing that your purpose deserves to breathe again. I began to speak to myself differently. Instead of saying, I can't, I started saying, I will. Instead of asking, why me? I started saying, try me. I became my own encourager, my own supporter, my own reason to keep going. I stopped looking at my past as something to regret and started seeing it as the training ground that shaped my strength. Everything I went through, every heartbreak, every disappointment, every loss, it all taught me something valuable. It taught me resilience. It taught me patience. It taught me the power of never giving up on myself again. And the more I leaned into that truth, the more my life began to shift. I stopped waiting for motivation to find me, and I started creating it. Every morning I woke up, I gave thanks for another chance to try again. Every day I reminded myself, I am not my mistakes. I am not my failures. I am not who I was when I was lost. I am who I choose to become now. The beautiful thing about being lost is that it forces you to pay attention. It makes you stop living on autopilot. It makes you search deeper. And that search, that hunger for meaning, is what leads you back to yourself. I found my fire not in success, not in recognition, not in perfection, but in honesty, in admitting that I was struggling, in giving myself permission to start again, in learning that being broken didn't make me weak. It made me real. You see, life doesn't reward those who never fall. It rewards those who refuse to stay down. And when I finally stood up again, something inside me changed forever. I realized that no one was coming to save me, and that was the best thing that could have happened, because it meant I had to save myself. So I did. I started rebuilding my confidence, one small win at a time. I started walking with purpose again. I started saying no to things that drained me, and yes to things that inspired me. And the more I honored myself, the more life began to honor me back. I was lost, but I was never gone. I was just waiting for me to remember who I was. And now I do. Now, I walk with my head high. I speak with power. I live with passion. Not because life is perfect, but because I am present. Because I refuse to forget my worth again. There's something unshakable that happens when you come back from being lost. You move differently. You love differently. You value peace more than attention. You stop begging to be understood. You stop needing to prove anything. Because you know, you've already survived the hardest parts. I found my fire again, not in the easy moments, but in the storms that tried to destroy me. And every time I wanted to give up, I remembered, the fire inside me burns brighter than the fear in front of me. So to anyone listening right now who feels lost, let me tell you this: you are not broken. You are becoming. You are not behind. You are being built. You are not forgotten. You are being guided. There is strength in your struggle. There is purpose in your pain. And there is beauty in your becoming. The day you decide to stop running from yourself is the day your healing begins. The day you stop doubting your power is the day your future starts to shift. Because once you find yourself again, once you remember your fire, nothing and no one can take it from you. I was lost, but that was the best detour of my life, because it led me here, to clarity, to peace, to purpose, to freedom. And now I'm on fire again, not just with passion, but with gratitude. Because I understand, now that every dark chapter was preparing me to shine brighter than ever before. So if you're listening to this, and you're in that place, the one where everything feels heavy and hopeless, please hear me. You will rise. You will rebuild. You will remember who you are. You were never meant to stay lost. You were meant to return home, to yourself. And when you do, the world will feel brand new. Affirmations. Repeat these with me. Out loud, with power. I am no longer lost. I am found within myself. I am rebuilding, and I am proud of my progress. I am strong, even when I feel weak. I am capable, even when I doubt myself. I am worthy of peace, purpose, and joy. I release my past and embrace my future. I forgive myself for forgetting my worth. I am grateful for every lesson that shaped me. My fire burns again, and it will never go out, because I am no longer who I was. I am who I was always meant to be.